Hello, everyone. Welcome to Trades Talk Tuesday. I am your host, Pop Culture Mechanic. Please call me Pop for short. And today, it is Valentine's Day. I hope you are having a good one. Whether you are with or without someone, just have a great day overall. So today, we'll do like we always do and look through some of the news in the industry. You can usually tell how healthy an economy is by looking at what news is going on with businesses out there. And oh, hey, it is David from the Underground. How you doing, man? Nice to have you stop by. And I saw Angry Canadian earlier. Thanks for keeping me tuned in there, Angry Canadian. Hopefully I can talk to you later on in the stream. But yes, right now I'm just going to catch up on some news from industry, and let's see what's out here. I'll just try to pick through some of the ones that I think are interesting. I really don't care about Ontario Power Generation buying GM Canada's head office building. I mean, big deal. The Royal Canadian Mint temporarily lays off 56 workers at its Winnipeg facility. That's kind of strange. I didn't think they would have to lay people off for at a mint. Canada strikes sanguine wait-and-see approach on Biden's latest Buy American gambit. Okay. Well, let's see why did they lay off 56 workers at the Winnipeg facility? The Royal Canadian Mint says it's temporarily laying off 56 employees at its Winnipeg facility. In a statement, the Mint says prolonged effects of the pandemic and ongoing geopolitical instability are disrupting global markets, which it says is limiting demand for coins it makes for other countries. Oh, that's right, because we'll make coins for other countries as well. I forgot all about that. It says it believes the disruption is temporary and that foreign circulation business will return as global markets reopen. There were 351 people working at the Mint's Winnipeg facility before the layoffs announcement late last week. The statement says the Mint has made every effort to avoid layoffs and is doing so only as a temporary measure, and that affected employees will be offered transitional support. The Mint's website says the Winnipeg facility was established in 1976 as a high-tech, high-volume manufacturing facility, and that every single Canadian circulation coin is produced there, as well as circulation coins for countries around the world. Well, yeah, hopefully this is just a temporary thing and they can get back to minting coins for other countries. Auto price to ease, but affordability still a challenge with no quick fix. Of course there isn't a quick fix. This is the economy you're talking about. There is no quick way to fix it. It says here, automakers have made high-profile price cuts for some of the most well-known electric cars this year, but experts say the overall sticker shock of buying vehicles will prove harder to remove. As anyone who's shopped for a vehicle as of late likely knows, prices ran up considerably throughout the COOF, from the dual pressures of parts shortages and inflation. The average selling price of a new vehicle is running around $45,000. More than 30% higher than the 2019 average, according to a recent Scotiabank report. Meanwhile, Black Book data shows that the average price for used vehicles at dealerships jumped from $24,000 at the start of 2021 to peaking at almost $38,000 last summer, and has so far retreated slightly to around $36,000. The cuts, however, are related to more specific factors in the electric vehicle market as competition increases, said Sam Fiorani, Vice President of Global Vehicle Forecasting at Auto Forecast Solutions. There are a lot of players who have all jumped in at the same time, and now we're looking to transition from early adopters to regular consumers who don't want to pay above list for a vehicle that would replace their internal combustion machine. The Tesla put its lowest tier model just under the $55,000 cutoff for Canadian federal buyer incentives, while the Ford puts its lowest model under the threshold for U.S. incentives, though still around about $10,000 clear of the Canadian limit. Big price cuts aren't likely in the offering anytime soon, though, for gas-powered vehicles because manufacturers are still just chipping away at the part shortages that first emerged in 2020 during the COOF. And automakers are still focusing what parts they do have on their more expensive and profitable models, says Fiorani. On the internal combustion engine side, there's very little competition on price. Every manufacturer is trying to get every dollar they can, loading up dealers with as expensive a product as they can get on the line. Rather than any rapid shift, there will likely be a gradual easing of the pressure on as inventories build up. He said dealers in the US have about 30 days of inventory, roughly similar amounts in Canada, while buyers will have more negotiating power when it gets to 40 or 50 days, he said. Those inventories have been building about 5% month over month for the past year as production slowly improves. North American auto production, which softened in the tail end of last year but still grew by close to 10% from a year earlier, is expected to grow by another 7% to reach 15.2 million units this year. According to Ward's Automotive Group, that still puts it well below the 16.2 million units produced in 2019. Only by a million, so it's not far off. While prices should ease as inventories build, rising interest rates and overall inflation pressure will still make car buying a challenge this year, says Rebecca Young, head of Inclusion and Resilience Economics at Scotiabank. We expect prices to stop going sky high with more supply, but still to have affordability challenges. Prices will likely ease in part as automakers produce more of the cheaper models they've been neglecting, but only to a point as some long-term shifts take hold, such as higher metal and energy prices, as well as higher labor costs as workforces age, she said. There it is again, folks. The aging workforce. That's something I've been touting a lot lately. As the older tradesmen are retiring, there's nobody to take their place. So here it is in the auto industry. They're saying it right here. Right here. There are legitimate cost pressures that the industry is facing, said Young. The push cost side of vehicle inflation is likely to be there longer. Automakers are also spending heavily on investments in EVs, while some are also taking price cuts to push sales. Tesla Inc. first announced big price cuts in January, and Ford Motor Company followed suit shortly after. Tesla made cuts across its four models by amounts varying between $5,000 and $15,000, while Ford cut its Mustang Mach-E by between $4,750 and $8,500 depending on the trim. Young said she doesn't expect much more in the line of these cuts to make EVs more affordable, but that more production of cheaper models will. I think what we will likely see is not necessarily kind of swath of price drops on current models as much as more models at more affordable ranges. She expects affordability to improve closer to the end of the year as auto loan interest rates, which were running at an over 7% late last year, will likely be lower. Those higher rates, along with inflation costs, have already helped push loan delinquencies up, though they're still below pre-pandemic levels, according to Equifax Canada's latest report out in December. The combination of larger loans, falling used car prices, higher borrowing costs, and overall cost of living pressures are, however, expected to lead to a jump in people struggling to pay auto loans ahead, said CIBC analyst Paul Holden in a recent report. We reasonably should expect significantly higher auto loan losses, he wrote. The pressure on loan repayments will depend especially on what happens with the job market, said Fiorani, which so far has defied expectations with continued strength, but that could shift downward as the higher interest rates fully take hold. If we start seeing unemployment rates rising, we've got to expect defaults on what was extraordinarily expensive loans. Yeah. So I think what people are doing now is they're hanging on to their cars a lot longer and not going out and buying any. I know I am. I try to hang on to my vehicles as long as I can, which I did with my last one. I had a Chrysler 300. I held on to that thing until it had about 340,000 kilometers on it. And then I was able to buy my new car before it gave up on me, which is nice. But now it's a matter of just keeping your older car in shape and not putting up with buying a new one. But we'll see how that goes. What else we got here? Bombardier reports 241 million fourth quarter profit, revenue up from a year ago. So Bombardier makes airplanes and such in Canada. They're located in Quebec. They get a lot of government subsidies too. So that's who you always hear about, a bailout or a loan from the government. So that's whoever owns Bombardier is just making off like a bandit. As I told you, they're in Quebec. Montreal, Bombardier's top priorities include paying down debt, growing its service business, and reducing emissions, said CEO Eric Martel after the company reported fourth quarter profits of $241 million, up from $238 million in the same quarter last year. The company said it repaid $1.1 billion in debt in 2022 and has reduced its long-term debt by 41%, or $4.1 billion since the end of 2020. We still have work to do, Martel said during a speech in the Canadian Club in Toronto on Thursday. He said the company is ahead of target on reducing its debt ratio. Bombardier said its adjusted net debt to adjusted EBITDA ratio was $4.6 billion by the end of 2022. And greetings to you, Whoopa Troopa. How is my favorite comrade leader doing? Just going through this article here about Bombardier and seeing how much profit they made this quarter. They make aircraft in Canada. The aircraft maker, which keeps its books in US dollars, said its profit amounted to $2.40 diluted share for the quarter ending December 31st, up from $2.34 per diluted share in the last 3 months of 2021. Revenue for the quarter totaled $2.7 billion, up from $1.8 billion a year earlier. On an adjusted basis, Bombardier said it earned $2.09 per diluted share in its fourth quarter, up from an adjusted profit of 74 cents per share in the same quarter a year earlier. The company right now is generating a lot of cash, said Martel, and he plans to continue reducing that debt until their net leverage ratio is similar to that of its competitors, at which point they can start reallocating some of the capital. We are very disciplined in our approach. Bombardier plans to continue growing the services part of its business. In a call with analysts Thursday morning, Martel said the company saw more deliveries in 2022 plus growth in services and said steady growth is at the heart of the company's success. We are operating at a sweet spot now that allows us to remain predictable, he said. Martel said Bombardier and its competitors are all laser focused on reducing their footprints. He cited the company's EcoJet research project, which he said uses around 20% less emissions just by having a more aerodynamic shape. Meanwhile, the company has committed to using sustainable aviation fuel in all their internal flight operations, which it said immediately reduces carbon dioxide emissions from flights by 25% on an annualized basis. In its outlook for 2023, the company said it expects revenue to top $7.6 billion for the year, compared to $6.9 billion in 2022. Aircraft deliveries for 2023 are expected to be more than 138 units, compared to 123 in 2022. So Bombardier looks like they're doing okay. Oh, big tech job cuts keep coming. Zoom is the latest to trim the headcount. Okay. Zoom is cutting jobs. Microsoft bakes chat GPT-like tech into search engine Bing. Oh, that sounds good, doesn't it? So now what? AI is going to help you look up things on Bing? I don't know how many people out there use Bing. I've used it a little bit, but it doesn't seem to be as good as Google. Redmond, Washington. Microsoft's fusing chat GPT-like technology into the search engine Bing, transforming an internet service that now trails far behind Google into a new way of communicating with artificial intelligence. Yeah, who uses Bing? Exactly, Whoopa. Yeah. I think the only reason Bing comes up is when I hit a new window at work. Microsoft Edge is goes to automatically go to the Microsoft website. Along with adding it to Bing, Microsoft's also integrating the chatbot technology into its Edge browser. Microsoft announced the new technology at an event on Tuesday at its headquarters in Redmond, Washington. Microsoft said a public preview of the new Bing will launch Tuesday for users who sign up for it, but the technology will scale to millions of users in coming weeks. Yusuf Mehdi, Microsoft Corporate Vice President and Consumer Chief Marketing Officer, said the new Bing will go live for desktop on limited preview. Everyone can try a limited number of queries, he said. The strengthening partnership with ChatGPT maker OpenAI has been years in the making, starting with a $1 billion investment from Microsoft in 2019 that led to the development of a powerful supercomputer specifically built to train the San Francisco startup's AI models. While it's not always factual or logical, ChatGPT's mastery of language and grammar comes from having ingested a huge trove of digitized books, Wikipedia entries, instruction manuals, newspapers, and other online writings. Microsoft Corp CEO Satya Nadella said Tuesday that the new AI advances are going to reshape every software category we know, including search, much like earlier innovations in personal computers and cloud computing. He said it is important to develop AI with human preferences and societal norms, and you're not going to do that in a lab. You have to do that out in the world. The shift to make search engines more conversational, able to confidently answer questions rather than offering links to other websites, could change the advertising-fueled search business, but also poses risks if the AI systems don't get their facts right. Their opaqueness also makes it hard to source back to the original human-made images and text they've effectively memorized, though the new Bing includes annotations that link its sources. And hello to you, Godzillionaire. Bing still exists? I guess so. They're gonna shove it in your face no matter what. If Microsoft has anything to say about it. Gartner analyst Jason Wong said new technological advancements will mitigate what led to Microsoft's disastrous 2016 launch of the experimental chatbot Tay, which users trained to spout racist and sexist remarks. But Wong said reputational risks will still be at the forefront for Microsoft if Bing produces answers with low accuracy or so-called AI hallucinations that mix and conflate data. Google has been cautious about such moves, but in response to pressure over ChatGPT's popularity, Google CEO Sundar Pichai on Monday announced a new conversational service named Bard that will be available exclusively to a group of trusted testers before being widely released later this year. Yeah, based Tay. Wong said Google was caught off guard with the success of ChatGPT, but still has the advantage over Microsoft in consumer-facing technology, while Microsoft has the edge in selling its products to businesses. Chinese tech giant Baidu said this week announced a similar search chatbot coming later this year. According to Chinese media, other tech rivals such as Facebook parent Meta and Amazon also worked on similar technology, but Microsoft's latest moves aim to position it at the center of the ChatGPT zeitgeist. Microsoft disclosed in January that it was pouring billions more dollars into OpenAI as it looks to fuse the technology behind the ChatGPT, the image generator DALL-E, and other OpenAI innovations into an array of Microsoft products tied to its cloud computing platform and its Office suite of workplace products like email and spreadsheets. So they're pouring billions of dollars into this, it says. They are hoping to make billions of dollars back from it. I don't like where this is going. I really don't. This is not good. As I've seen with Adobe already, where they want you to subscribe to their Acrobat Reader, and if I just want to turn the page like 90 degrees, rotate it, I have to subscribe, and no, screw that. Screw you, Adobe. I'm not doing that. I'm going to use either not use Adobe Acrobat Reader for PDF files and use something else. Something that won't charge me just to rotate my view. The most surprising might be the integration with Bing, which is the second place search engine in many markets, but has never come close to challenging Google's dominant position. Really? Bing is second place? Only because it probably comes pre-installed with Microsoft Internet Explorer or whatever they use now. Bing launched in 2009 as a rebranding of Microsoft's earlier search engines and was run for a time by Nadella years before he took over as CEO. Its significance was boosted when Yahoo and Microsoft signed a deal for Bing to power Yahoo's search engine, giving Microsoft access to Yahoo's greater search share. Similar deals infused Bing into search features for devices made by their companies, though users won't necessarily know that Microsoft is powering their searches. By making it a destination for ChatGPT-like conversation, Microsoft could invite more users to give Bing a try. You're shocked DuckDuckGo isn't second, but you still guarantee it's very distant second. Yeah, I could see that. I do use DuckDuckGo a lot, and usually for image searches because they pop up without throwing up the website or anything like that. If I'm like, I just want the image, and boom, there's the image. That's where I go grab my stuff for doing a lot of my live stream thumbnails and all that. It says here, on the surface, at least, a Bing integration seems far different from what OpenAI has in mind for its technology. Appearing at Microsoft's event, OpenAI CEO Sam Altman said the new Bing experience looks fantastic and is based in part on learnings from its GPT line of large language models, he said. One of the reasons for the Microsoft partnership is to get OpenAI technology into the hands of millions of people. OpenAI has long voiced an ambitious vision for safely guiding what's known as AGI, or Artificial General Intelligence, a not yet realized concept that harkens back to ideas from science fiction about human-like machines. OpenAI's website describes AGI as highly autonomous systems that outperform humans at most economically valuable work. OpenAI started as a nonprofit research laboratory when it launched in December 2015 with backing from Tesla CEO Elon Musk and others. Its stated aims to advance digital intelligence in the way that is most likely to benefit humanity as a whole, unconstrained by a need to generate financial return. Honestly, how many people don't want financial return, though? I'm not buying it. That changed in 2018 when it incorporated a for-profit business, OpenAI LP, and shifted nearly all its staff into business. There we go. Not long after releasing its first generation of the GPT model for generating human-like paragraphs of readable text. OpenAI's other products include an image generator, DALL-E, first released in 2021, the computer programming assistant Codex, and the speech recognition tool Whisper. And there you go. Yeah, DuckDuckGo is good on images. You got her, Alex. Welcome. CEO of company says company's product looks great. Okay, I'm sure you would never lie to me. Yeah. Oh, you'd never lie to me. I don't know. That looks like about it as far as going back, looking at some of the news in industry there. Next, let's move along, shall we? How about from Delaware Online? And I don't know if I've ever been to this. I've been to this website before. I don't think I have. Obviously, it's probably from Delaware News Journal. Okay. Workforce Development Program aims to increase diversity in skilled trades. So right now, if you guys want to know how to get into the skilled trades, there is, this is how you do it. There's that D word again. So, you're thinking about the skilled trades. You want to get into them. You wonder what they're about. So, to learn a designated trade, this is from where I live, which is in the province of Alberta. You must be a registered apprentice. You can begin your apprenticeship by taking the following 4 steps. Choose your program. There are more than 50 designated trades in Alberta. Find the career that matches your interests and passion and learn more about what you need to get started. It says here, visit the trades list and explore the apprenticeship education programs available. Okay, let's look at the trades list. Okay, so you got all sorts of stuff. Don't waste your time in college unless you want to do engineering. Yeah, Godzilla, exactly. You take your EIT, your engineering training, you do that, and then you pick civil, mechanical engineer, chemical engineer, process engineer, stuff like that. Yeah, it's a long haul. You're going to be in there for a long time, and then you have to get practical experience. I think we actually have a student right now who's going to be an engineer working at our site, and he's actually working side by side with me for doing looking at all the lubrication needed for the equipment. He wants to do OEM lubrication. make sure we have all the right stuff. So that's his job. But you can find your trade. It takes a minimum of 4 years to go from EIT to PM. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 4 years. You got her. A lot of apprenticeships are 4 years as well. Some are 3. I believe crane operator and welder are 3 years. Things like heavy equipment technician and millwright and electrician are 4. And I'm not quite sure if they have a 5-year apprenticeship. But here's some stuff here. You can start out in the A's. It's alphabetical. Agricultural equipment technician, appliance service technician. So if you like fixing dishwashers, dryers, washing machines, anything that's an appliance service technician. And you can be an appliance service technician for the commercial. Let's see if I can't zoom in here a little bit better. Auto body technician. You'll always be working if you're an auto body technician. There's always going to be car accidents. Yeah, people are always going to want their cars fixed up, or restoring older cars, and ones that just happen to rust out and they want to replace them. You can put some fresh steel in there and weld it up and grind it down, make it look pretty. Auto body prepper, auto body refinisher, auto body repairer, automotive service technician. So you're going to be a pretty what they used to call a mechanic. Now you're an automotive service technician. A baker, a barber, a boiler maker, a bricklayer, a cabinet maker. That is getting into the fine woodwork. Carpenter. So you'd be just doing all sorts of things. Houses for sure, framing. Cathodic protection technician, level 1 and level 2. So cathodic protection is for pipelines so that they don't get deteriorate when they're in the ground. I think they pass a small current through it so that it stops the corrosion of the pipe, which is very important because you don't want your pipes corroding and having massive spills and stuff underground. It's bad. Communication technician, concrete finisher, a cook, crane and hoisting equipment operator for a boom truck, crane and hoisting equipment operator for a mobile crane, crane and hoisting operator for a tower crane, crane and hoisting operator for a wellhead boom truck. So there you go. And I know crane operator pays pretty well, but a lot of time it's a lot of sitting and waiting to do your lift. But once you do your lift and then, put things in place. And sometimes you're usually working out of town. Electric motor systems technician, electrician, there you go. Elevator constructor. So working on elevators is its own special thing. Field heat treatment technician, floor covering installer, a gas utility operator or a gas fitter, A and Class B. Glazer, so you deal with glass, cutting glass to size, fitting them in. Hairstylist, heavy equipment technician, also known as heavy duty mechanic. So there's a couple levels to heavy equipment technician. I took the first 2 levels. One is you get your first year, you're a transport trailer mechanic, so you can take care of trailers for transport trucks. I believe second year is on-road truck and transport mechanic, and then third year is off-road equipment, and then fourth year you're considered heavy equipment technician. Industrial construction crew supervisor, industrial mechanic, millwright, that's what I am. Instrumentation and control technician, insulator, iron worker. So you want to put up buildings and all that kind of good stuff with I-beams. Ironworker, metal building and systems erector. Ironworker reinforcing, ironworker structural. You can be doing landscape horticulturist, a lather, a locksmith. Machinist, there's a good one. When you do machinist, you'll learn lathes, milling machines, all sorts of stuff like that by hand. And then when you get into the CNC programming, which is computer numerical control, that is where the real money is. You learn a good programming language, and then companies will call you in, you program their machine, and then they just have an operator who is not a machinist. All they have to do is take the blank part, put it in the machine, hit start. When it's done, take it out and measure it, put it off to the side, the finished pile, and then put in the next blank piece. No one does CNC G-code by hand now. It's all CAD CAM software. Okay, that's good to know, Godzilla. I'm not really up on my machinist things that they do. So it's good to know that you can keep me abreast of what's going on. There's metal fabricator or fitter, motorcycle mechanic, natural gas compression technician, oil and gas transportation, all levels, outdoor power equipment technician, so you can fix lawnmowers and blowers and all that sort of stuff. Outdoor power equipment technician, recreational equipment. You did have a professor jump down a student's throat when he conflated a machine operator with a machinist. Yeah. There is, yeah. It's unfortunate though, but companies will do that because they don't have to pay them as much. It's like, yeah, you're just a machine operator. You're not a machinist. One presses buttons, the other is practically an artist. Yeah. You got it right. There's overhead door technician, level 1. Overhead door technician, level 2. Overhead doors are an art form, and you'll always be in demand for overhead doors. It's crazy that so many overhead doors and so many different types. But the spring-loaded ones, that scares me. The tension on those springs, I am just really wary of those. What about for real fake doors? That's the fool of the people. Fool the stooge. He can go through the fake door. No one cares about overhead doors until they don't open? Yes, exactly. A painter and decorator, a parts technician, or materials technician. So that's its own trade, being a parts technician. Plumber, another important trade. Everyone wants water, or they want their toilet to flush, or things like that. Power systems electrician, a power line technician. There you go. Now you're getting into the high voltage stuff. I want to steer clear of all that. That is pretty crazy stuff. You know, when you're dealing with thousands of volts, not something I want to be near. Recreation vehicle service technician. Okay, so somebody that specializes in RVs. Refrigeration and air conditioning mechanic. There you go. HVAC. HVAC is crazy. Like you'll be in the summertime, you'll always be busy because people want to be cool. In wintertime, people always want that furnace running, so you'll always have work for that. Your dad was an automotive painter. You pretty much started an apprenticeship at 8 years old. Hey, mix that paint that car, sand that fender down. Do some wet sanding. Come on, what's the matter with you? And glory to Whoopstotska, Jake D. Welcome. Nice to see you. Glory to Whoopstotska, of course. A residential construction site manager, a roofer. That's if you want to put shingles and stuff when they're putting up buildings. A sheet metal worker. That is a true art form. Seen some sheet metal workers in my time, and they can do some really good work if you're in need. Slickline services. I don't know what that is. I assume it has something to do with oil wells and such, but I've never heard of the term slickline. Snubbing services. Same thing probably for oil field. Sprinkler systems installer. There you go. the more they go on about safety and such, you're always going to need people to come and check your sprinklers, do installs, do repairs. What happens when it goes off? Is it a dry system? Is it a wet system? Steam fitter, pipe fitter. That's another good one. You'll always have work if you're working on the pipeline. Steel detailer. I've never heard of that one before. Transport refrigeration technician. So you're doing mobile refrigeration for the trucks that are hauling all the cold storage things. Looks like a great job for women to find some equality in. Yeah, damn straight. A water well driller. A welder. Well testing services. So there you go. There is from A to W a list of all the trades. And now when you click on one, like, what do you guys think? What should we click on? You guys pick. Pick one and we'll look deeper into it and see what it takes. And you see these dots here. One says green. That means classroom instruction, which is nice. Do my trade. Hairstylist. Red seal. Red seal means that you can use your trade certificate all across Canada. That's all that means. Okay, let's do that one then. So this describes what you're going to be in for. So industrial mechanics install, maintain, repair, and troubleshoot stationary industrial machinery and mechanical equipment in sites such as factories, production plants, recreational facilities. On a typical job, industrial mechanics read diagrams and schematic drawings and service manuals to determine work procedures. Operate rigging equipment and dollies to place heavy machinery and parts. This is true. I've had to work in conjunction with a crane operator, and I was his signalman as we were installing equipment. And I had to rig it up, and you have to know how to rig things properly so that they don't fall out of the rigging or something happens where the load shifts and things just go sideways, and you don't want that. You want a nice smooth lift, and make sure you know where the center of gravity of your machine or the part that you're lifting up in place. Fit bearings, align gears and shafts, attach motors, and connect couplings and belts to precise tolerances. Yes, I've done all of that. Fitting bearings, you warm them up. You make sure you don't overheat them, otherwise you'll ruin them. You align the gears. You have to make sure you have a straight edge and such when you're aligning them, or you can even get really fancy and use laser alignment. Attach motors, that's usually self-explanatory. You can mate them to gearboxes and such and just make sure that they have the right frame, because motors all have on the placard on the motor, it'll have something that says frame, and you have to make sure that if you're going to replace that one, you get the same frame style, because there is some, if it's a frame E, every motor that has that frame E will mate to whatever gearbox you're connecting it to. You've had to supervise riggers before during machine install. Tell them where it goes. That was nerve-wracking. Yeah, I bet. Yeah, you got to make sure. And the thing is, too, you always got to check their credentials, too. Make sure that it's within date and whether they actually have them or not, or if they're just lying to you. Connect couplings and belts. Yes, I've had to do that as well. You always make sure you don't roll a belt onto a shiv. Make sure it's completely loose when it goes on. Otherwise, you'll stretch it. And you're just pretty much taking the life out of it. Align and test equipment. Make necessary adjustments. Yes. Perform predictive and operational procedures. It's a little tougher when you're doing predictive. Predictive is usually when you go by hours of a machine operating. You try to get it so that the machine doesn't break down, but you don't try to change things prematurely. And I know in places like the oil patch, when the machinery reaches a certain hour, it doesn't matter if that part has failed or not. They stop, they replace it, and they start up again. It's just the way that's predictive maintenance. Repair or replace defective parts. Yes, I mean, that happens. Sometimes you get a breakdown that you don't expect and you have to replace the parts or get the plant up and running again. Service and repair hydraulic and pneumatic systems. Yes. I was just checking out our compressor the other day. It had a fault on the screen and I was like, oh no, what's going on here? So it comes up with a number and you go and look that number up in the service manual and it tells you that it went down or it's complaining about high heat. So naturally I have to troubleshoot, open it up. It's running still, but I opened it up, I had a look. Okay, the radiator or the heat exchanger was plugged. What do you mean cheating? Who's cheating? I don't cheat. The heat exchanger was plugged up with dirt, and thus the air couldn't pass over it well enough to cool it down. So I just took a vacuum, I vacuumed it out, then I used some compressed air and blew it out, and the temperature came down again, and I was able to get rid of that warning that was on the keypad. Service and repair. Yeah, make do some tack welding, a weld that's adequate. Yeah, I've done actually my fair share of welding and fabricating, and I like it because it gives you a chance to be creative, especially when you're going to do prototyping for things. Half of industrial maintenance is knowing what book to look in. Yes, you are correct. You can't remember everything. You might think you can, but you can't remember everything. And as long as and I find myself looking in all sorts of equipment manuals for stuff, mostly because I've only been at this place for about 18 months. So I'm still relatively new and learning their stuff. But yeah, it's a matter of just knowing where to look for the information. This isn't an open book test. Okay, Jake D. The founding fathers would be shamed. All right, let's see what here. Information and requirements. The term of apprenticeship for an industrial mechanic is 4 years, including a minimum of 1,560 hours of on-the-job job training and 8 weeks of classroom instruction each year. So I went through that, and I'll tell you what, the 8 weeks of classroom instruction is a nice break from work. That's the way I looked at it. I'm like, right on, I get to go to school, and, it's just from 8 o'clock till 3 or something like that. I think that's what it was, 8 to 3. And it was a nice short day, and you get to relax. You don't have to get dirty. You just make sure you're in the classroom. Some of it's in the classroom, some of it's in the shop. And it was like, oh, this is great. Not out in the snow. No, it's all indoors. It's all good. But I always like that break of 8 weeks in the classroom. And then, you try your best. They even are like throwing like scholarships at people and like, hey, sign up for this one, sign up for this one. So any scholarship you could sign up for, a bursary or whatever, or grant, you signed up for it just to see if you could get it, just to help with the burden there. But we would, the company would lay you off, so you go on employment insurance as you're going to school. But then the company was nice enough to sort of top up your wage. At least they would for us where we worked. They would top it up so that you wouldn't suffer any financial hardship while you were going to school. I know some companies won't, but ours did. Training classes are weird. You always end up in there, some literal children that have never seen a pump in real life. Oh man, when I was going for when I was in fourth year. So there's what's called a RAP student. So this is you learning an apprenticeship when you're still in high school. And this kid was like a fourth year, and he was like 20. And he came to class, and he kept having to run to the bathroom. That's because he was out partying there the night before, and he kept having to leave the room and go throw up in the bathroom. So I was just laughing at him. I'm like, oh, you dumb kid. So it's pretty funny. But yeah, a lot of the what happens is a lot of the older guys will like group together and help each other out. Help each other try to get better marks and study and everything like that. And the younger guys, well, they just don't get it. They figure it's party time, so they don't do as well. It says here, apprentices are expected to demonstrate progress in their apprenticeship program within 18 months by engaging in an activity that will lead to completion of a period of the program. Apprentices may attempt the interprovincial exam in the final period of their apprenticeship training, and if successful, be granted a red seal. Yes, that's all the red seal is, interprovincial. You can go between provinces. Upon successful completion of the apprenticeship program, the apprentice will receive a journeyman certificate and an educational credential. You can earn a journeyman. They say journey person, but I'm going to say journeyman because that's just the way I'd grown up. And I have a friend of mine, a female that was my apprentice, and she said if her ticket said journey person on it, she's going to give it back to him. She's like, no, I'm a journeyman. And I'm like, good on you. So it's based on work experience. The requirements for an industrial mechanic are a minimum of 72 months and 9,360 hours of work experience. A successful theory exam is required, an employer declaration letter. Recognized credentials. The requirements for an industrial mechanic are a valid recognized credential from another jurisdiction, a successful theory exam. Jedi Knight, you started hosting training classes when you were 30. It was weird. Journey person, gross. Journey they changed the term journeyman. This is a government institution, so obviously they're going to change it, but you're still a journeyman. Even if you're a woman, you're still a journeyman. It doesn't mean journeyman. It's a journeyman. Oh, you're over quota on Canadians now? Hey, that's okay. The more the better. I need some more Canucks in here. It's journey, ma'am. You hear me? It's journey, ma'am. A high school student can become an apprentice through the Registered Apprenticeship Program. Yeah, that's what I was talking about, the RAP program, and gain credits toward apprenticeship training and a high school diploma at the same time. The only problem with that is if you come out of high school and you're a journeyman at such a young age, you will get no respect from anybody. They won't care if you're a journeyman. You go to a job site and they're like, yeah, that's funny, kid. Pick up a broom and shovel the floor or sweep the floor. A student involved in the career and technology studies stream in high school may be eligible for credit towards their apprenticeship, first period training. Related trades. Applicants with an Alberta or recognized trade certificate in one of the following trades may be eligible for credit towards their apprenticeship or trades qualifier program requirements. Machinist. So yeah. Get important information about duties, working conditions, and skills and abilities needed to work in this trade. You will be redirected to the ALIS website. View job postings. Oh yeah. Entrance requirements, curriculum guides, classroom instruction, financial assistance. There's all sorts of stuff here. Like you've got a lot of information. If you want to go into the trades, it's this is the way to do it. They definitely lay it out here for you. Especially if you want to know what it's like. Let's see what it comes up here. Okay, so for an industrial mechanic, it gives you a little bit of a rundown about what the average salary is. This will be in Alberta, so it'll be different for my American friends. I guess it'll vary by state, I guess. Average salary, $83,000 a year. Average wage, $42.93 an hour. Minimum education, apprenticeship, certification, provincially regulated. In demand, high. That's good to know. You want to be in demand. 14,900 employed. Outlook, below average. New positions, 117. Job postings, 18 listings. Okay. So that's just for that. So it's nice to see that, you earn a good wage too, and that's what people A lot of people need to have a good wage, good living wage. 2 Canadians is fine, but if we add a third, someone is going to have to leave. Oh, Whoopa. Yeah, kill me. That's your biggest issue these days. The kids right out of college don't want to do grunt work. This is just mindless data entry. Why do I have to do it? Because I don't want to. Yeah, I mean, I'm afraid that's what it's going to be like. Even when you're an apprentice, you're not going to get the gravy jobs. You're going to get the terrible jobs, the ones that nobody wants to do. But you're the low guy on the totem pole. You know, it's part of your taking your lumps to get through this. You know, it's not like hazing, but it's like your rite of passage. You have to do the crap jobs and then you come out on the other side. And it's also a test to your character. People will see, oh, look at this guy's doing this crap job. And he's not complaining, you know, he's got a good character. He's going to work out here. You know, he's not going to be one of those, because people that whine about all their jobs and that, they don't last very long. Either the guys, they get run off or whatever. They feel not welcome. So just put your head down, grit your teeth and do the job. There's nothing wrong with that. What are we saying here? You know, my animator would complain about doing mindless data entry. There was a point where I'd have killed to do that instead of loading trucks all night. Entitlement. I didn't go to college to do this. Going from doing something interesting to doing mindless data entry, it makes you question existence. Pays the same, yeah. You remember mopping hangar floors for the first 2 years of my career until you got recognized for being a good work? Yeah, right on, Angry Canadian. Right on, man. Especially when you look around your work and see all the people who have spent 10 to 15 years at the company and are at the same level as you. Like, damn, I'm really a wage slave. Yeah. If you can, try to get a union job. They're very regimented. So you have a collective bargaining agreement which will state exactly how long you are here for. This is what you will earn. When you're here for this long, you will earn this much. When you progress along, you will earn this much. And you'll have this many vacation days when you're there for this long, and when you're this long. So everything is laid out in the CBA. And it's a good thing. It helps everybody out, but they have to always be a little bit of give and take. You can't be so militant with the company. What are my thoughts about being self-employed? If you can do it, do it. Be self-employed. You can work as long and as hard as you need to see the results of your work. The sky's the limit. So if you can be self-employed and do what you love to do, I would do it, because then it doesn't feel like a job to you. And if you're willing to put in the time, that's the thing. Long hours, hard work, figuring out how to do things better. Like you can really stretch your imagination and try to figure things out to be self-employed. Unions have terrible reputation in the US. Okay. Full disclosure, I had not worked union ever until I started this brand new job. And then it was like a requirement. Once you get accepted, you accept the job, their offer letter, you go in there, and then it's like, oh, okay, well, now you have to sign up for the union, and here you go. And you do it, and it's all right. They help us. It's helped us out quite a few times. I think we just did our renewal anyway, and we'll be good for another 2 years. Self-employed only Canadians. It'll buff out, dude. You'll move on eventually. You've got progression as in raises and extra benefits. Just thinks that this job now is basically a dead end one. Even hard workers don't get the promotions they deserve, it seems. Yeah, and it will be. You'll be looked over. A lot of people will be looked over for working hard, and the people that don't work hard will be praised. And it's just how it goes out there. but it's not so much management. Like, for me, it's like my fellow colleagues, right? The operators I work with, the other tradesmen I work with, they know. They're like, that guy's a hard worker. You know, you can depend on him. You want to know answers? You go to that guy. But yeah, that's the way things are out there, unfortunately. Wanting to start a biz? Corporate life, kiss your way up the ladder, or wallow? You could brown nose like no other. And might I say, sir, you are looking rather handsome today. Hey, Jake D. The only thing you know about unions is how the teachers' union in the U.S. send dues to support abortions, which no matter your beliefs, that sounds very counterintuitive. Yeah, I would tell, if I was part of the teachers' union, I'd be like, why are you doing that? Don't send my dues for that. That's not what it's meant for. Exactly. Yeah, Angry Canadian, really take a good look into what you want to do. If you're going to start, be your own self-employed, just make sure you do a lot of research. So yes, that is the industrial mechanic, what it takes. A lot of these other ones are similar. You'll have to go to school, go for your however many weeks it is, and get your hours in, and they'll give you a logbook, and you have to keep track of it. I guess that's what it didn't tell you, is that you'll have a logbook, and you'll have to write down in there when you've done something different, and it'll have all the subjects or the things, the type of area you're in. Communication tech? Oh, let's have a look. Communication technician. They install and maintain wired or wireless networks for consumer and business communications. They also maintain and repair various types of radio frequency, transmission, and switching equipment used to provide communication services. To perform these functions, they must be skillful at using hand and power tools, trained in the products they support, capable of integrating wired and wireless technologies, and skilled at testing procedures to locate faults and isolate defective components. To be authorized to perform restricted activities in this designated trade, a worker must be a sponsored apprentice, a certified journeyman deemed qualified by their employer, and be self-employed. For more information, see classes of individuals. Okay, information requirements. The term of apprenticeship for a communication technician is 4 years, including a minimum of 1,500 hours of on-the-job, 6 weeks of classroom instruction, okay, for the first 3 periods, and 8 weeks of classroom instruction for the final period. Okay, well, only 6 weeks of school for the first 3 years. That's okay. Classroom instruction for this apprenticeship program is currently suspended. Information about the suspension and how you can continue to progress in your apprenticeship is available here. Okay, I did not know that. Apprentices are expected to demonstrate progress in their apprenticeship program within 18 months by engaging in an activity that will lead to completion of the program. Upon successful completion of the apprenticeship program, the apprentice will receive a journeyman certificate and an educational credential. Requirements of a communication tech are minimum 72 months and 9,000 hours of work experience, a successful theory exam, and employer declaration letter. Nice. An applicants with Alberta or recognized trade certificate in one of the following trades may be eligible for credit towards their apprenticeship or trades qualifier program requirements: electrician and instrumentation and control technician. Well, that's good. Is there a section about becoming a YouTube superstar? Let's see. No, I don't think there's anything for YouTube superstar. What skilled trades are there for Pokemon with no arms? Asking for a friend. Is there a Woopa welder? Let's have a look. Woopa welder. Oh, I don't know. Would Woopas be a good water well driller? They are water type Pokemon, aren't they not? I think you can use your feet too to drill this well. Oh, and it's only a 2-year apprenticeship and 1,800 hours of on-the-job training, 6 weeks of classroom. Well, there you go. Use ice punch. I don't think you can use flamethrower. Welding may be hard. Yeah. No, a water well would probably be where it's at for a WUPA. Or a sprinkler. Sprinkler systems installer. Or the WUPA could be the sprinkler. So it's actually not that difficult. You could become a sprinkler. There you go. Well, we've gone over that now. Now that you've seen what needs to go through. Here's Jake D killing me again. What about environmental disaster specialist asking for Ohio? Yeah, I've seen that. And you know where I saw that? I saw that on Twitter. Do you think CNN is out there doing anything? Usually they're the first ones at the disaster. They're like on there with like 900 cameras and all sorts of angles and this and that, and they're guessing about who did what. Where are they now? Why aren't they doing that? Like, that is like the absolute most important thing that should be in the news right now. I am shocked. Shocked, I say. Well, not really that shocked. I've got some pictures for you guys to have a look at. I don't know if many of you have seen these before, but this is one of the... Nothing sketchy about that situation. No siree. No, it's nothing to see. Move along. Nothing to see here. Oh my God, look at that flaming wreckage. So yeah, I have some pictures. If you guys want to have a look, what we'll do like this. Like this. There's another spill in Tucson. Okay, I thought I saw something near Houston as well. Train derailment near Houston, Texas. What do I have to do here? I have to go like that, and then go like this. There we go. What you're looking at here, this is a drum digester. This is a giant, it's essentially a giant tube that spins at 1 RPM. And what happens is you put garbage in it, and it helps break it down with heat and the abrasion and the rotation of the rotation of this giant digester. Yes, yeah, blinding speed, 1 RPM. So it's there's 5 of these at the facility I was at, and it took in the entire city's garbage. So all the municipal solid waste would come here, it would get sorted, and it would get the compostable material or organic material would get put into these drum digesters, which would take 3 days to travel from one end to the other. They're about 150 feet long, 15 feet in diameter. And because they spin at 1 RPM, it would take 3 days for something to go from one end all the way to the other. And these are the gears that would drive it. And there's somebody put a pen on here for scale. So if that's a regular pen, this is where the gears, how big the gears are. And I believe the oil had a viscosity of like 3,400. It was very thick oil that would go. You know, sometimes Godzillionaire will know, but there'll be stuff like ISO 3268, right? Kind of like your gear oil is 7590 or 75140. This stuff was 3,400. And yeah, not quite herringbone Godzillionaire. I think they're just like spur gears. But yeah, very large, very heavy to drive that drum digester. Too bad colleges just crank out sociology majors. I'm sure they'll be handy keeping those going. Our society will collapse. Hopefully not. They've got a decent angle to the gears, though. Yes, they do. Yep, you betcha. I'm guessing it's because of the torque, the way it would get driven. You want to try to keep the forces equal to one another. At least that's what I'm thinking. So they set up the scaffolding. So there's the entrance hole right there. And they'd set up the scaffolding so that the person who was on man watch, because this is a confined space, you can't just go in here willy-nilly. You have to have all the gas monitors inside. You have to have air exchanges. You have to have somebody watching to make sure the crew doesn't die. That pillow block is massive. You are right. So we called these trunnions. But yeah, okay, yeah, there's the trunnion there. You can sort of see it. That would help support the whole thing. And then yes, this bearing, and there's one on this side too, just to support that gear. And then I believe we had 500 horsepower motors on there that would spin, and then it was connected to a giant gearbox. And the gearbox reduced it down from 1800 RPM down to 1. And then there's our setup for this guy is our stud welder, which is what we would keep the power source outside and then run the lines up to the drum and use that for stud welding. And what we were putting studs on them for these plates. And these plates are our whole purpose of there was to reline the inside because the abrasion of the material was taking down the wall thicknesses of the drum. So then we had to go inside and put these on. So you'd use a stud welder to put studs on, and then you would put these plates on, and then these would be what the abrasion would be attacking rather than the walls of the drum itself. That gear ratio is insane. Yeah, no kidding, eh? I don't think I have any pictures of the gearbox, though. I wish you could have remembered to take some of those. Need to work on online job or start your own biz? Yeah, why not? Or do it as a side hustle to start and then see if it takes off. I think that would be a good way too. Societal collapse is when you get rid of political corruption. Worst case scenario is that it's not my problem anymore. Ceramic wear plates? Ceramic. What the hell do they call them? They call them Trimay. So they were Trimay plates. Just a harder, I don't know if they put their hard surfacing on there, but that's what we called them. And okay, well that's that here. Do that. I've got some better ones here. So there's the interior. This, as you can see, it's quite large diameter, very roomy, very damn cold. This looks like we've done about halfway, because you do halfway up the sides, and then you rotate the whole thing, and then you do the other side. And so we're working along the bottom here, installing the studs and the plates. As you can see, the ones that haven't been done yet, there are these bars on here, and you're probably wondering to yourself, what the hell are those bars? Those are zinc plates, and they're a sacrificial metal to help so that the whole drum doesn't rust. Instead, the rust will attack the zinc bars that are all over the interior of this thing and help prevent the corrosion through the wall. And these are quite large. They were actually, I think, 2 feet long and about 5 inches in width and about an inch thick. And they were welded to the inside of the interior. Do I have I got a man-sized cutout of poster of Mike Rowe at my place? Did you have to use anything to balance the drum, or was the RPM low enough to not worry about it? It was low enough we didn't have to worry about it. I don't think we had to worry about balancing it too much. The hard part was when you wanted to stop it in a certain position. Then it was tougher. Because if there was material on the inside here, and sometimes it wouldn't fall to where you wanted it to, and then the drum would keep spinning even when the brake was on. So that was tough. Stopping it at a certain spot was the toughest thing. We'll remember the sacrifice of comrade, sacrificial metals. Da comrade. And there's the scaffolding. There's one of the guys. There's one of the others. They're showing how bad they want us to wear goggles all the time, but it's like the goggles fog up, and they're like, so nope, you have to wear them. And we're like, okay, well, here's what you're going to end up with fogged up goggles and being even more unsafe than safe. That's how we got those plates up there, the steel plates. Use a scissor lift, put them up into the opening. Here's one for you. I don't know how many of you guys have seen this before, but it was so cold. So we're talking like it's minus 25, minus 30. And this thing is running full blast heater. And it's still so cold that you've got ice forming on the outside of this heat dish. On the cage, on the cover here. There's a better look at it. So it's so cold out that this thing can't put enough heat out to melt this ice off of the metal bars. You miss driving scissor lifts and boom lifts? Yeah. Hey, it's fun stuff. I don't mind it. We had our own crane. I could drive an 8.5 ton crane. And yeah, a zoom boom. Also known as a telehandler. I used to drive all those around, and that was great. You do not like the cold. You're not an ice type. Yeah, I don't like it either. But you got to dress for it. So yeah, that's when people tell you that they're cold, you tell them no. I've seen a heater with ice on it and running it full blast heater. You like the cold, but by now in the year, you're tired of it? I hear that. So, I don't know what happened to this cord end, but I don't know if it got so cold or something hit it, but it cracked. And once it's cracked like that, you cut it off and nobody uses it anymore. It's going to be nearly 80 degrees Fahrenheit here tomorrow. What is cold? Oh, you bugger. Yeah, I think, what was it here today? -6 Celsius? So yeah, I don't know what that is. 25 Fahrenheit? So there's another shot of the interior. You can see the frost on here. So it wasn't the warmest place to work in because we had to have a lot of air exchanges. They wanted not to have any kind of foul air or anything to build up, like carbon monoxide or H2S or anything like that. So we had to have lots of air exchanges. I think we had 6 an hour. One every 10 minutes. As you can see, pictures of the frost. Everything was frosting up. And there's the guy watching us. If you look in the reflection of the mirror there, the convex mirror. Yeah. Made sure we had our fire extinguisher ready to go in case something happened. Let's see. Do some welding because we had to do some hard surfacing. Because when you put your studs in like this, then you put your plates over top, then you put the nuts down and tighten them down. Well, they need to be protected from the abrasion. So that's our heater that we had. You do some hard surfacing. So we were pouring like rolls and rolls of hard surfacing wire onto those just to protect them from any kind of abrasion, so they would last longer, and you wouldn't find the plates falling out the end there. I think I even got some. Let's see what we got here. I knew I had something here. No, not that. He's always running warm. You're having to resist turning my AC back on. Am I using Nelson studs? I can show you. I think I've got some video of stud welding, and they come with ceramic rings that you put into the stud gun with the stud, and then you just pull the trigger. Doggone it, where did that go now? Oh, there we go. Hard facing, nope. Yeah, there we go. Stud welding.
Okay, go ahead.
I'll show that again. Is stud welding.
Okay, go ahead.
So each one of those planks or the steel what the hell do we call those? Anyways, they take 5 studs to secure them down. So you'd have to do 5 of them, and then put down a layer of rubber, and then put the plate on top, and then screw it down, and then secure it to so many foot-pounds, and then you'd put the hard surfacing on it. Yeah, looks like welding studs, non-structural, just to hold something in place, and that's exactly it. Just to hold them in place. They definitely got some studs on site, am I right, Pop? Boom! That's our Whoopa. Yeah, Whoopa Troopa, ladies and gentlemen. He'll be here all week. Try the veal. Okay, AC, good to see you. Gotta get going. Let's see you around, buddy. We'll see you on your Fire Emblem engage stream, I think. Maybe, depending on the time you're on. I'll try to see it. Used to use those all the time for belt guards. Just match the pattern to the belt guards you get. Oh, yeah. Fire Emblem Waifu. That's the expansion pack. Here's another shot here. Oh, no. Open with this. Yes, there we go. So you had to preheat the steel. It was very important to do that because there's moisture in it. So as you can see here, he's heating up. This fella's heating up the spot where this other guy's going to weld the stud in, just so there's no moisture. And that was so you had a good grab onto the steel. Very important. No moisture. Today is the day of the waifu? I'd say so. Why not, eh? Tomorrow too, and the next day? Waifu Wednesday, and which also leads into Woopa Wednesday. We know all about that. A senior research fellow of Wupstotska Center for Waifu Policy and Cabinet Secretary of the Glorious State can confirm every day is Waifu Wednesday. Waifu's Day. You know what? That's good. We should actually extend that to make that the 8th day of the week. Waifu's Day. Good day. Okay, and yeah, so that was the stud welding. Okay. So that's what it looked like here. If you can get a better look at it. There's the studs, there's the rubber that we put underneath it. And then the plates would go on, and then the rubber washers and metal washers, and the nut would go on, and then the hard surfacing over top. So it was quite the process to get all that taken care of. Waifu Wednesday. Have Whoop Le Bureau rubber stamp ready for Comrade Leader's approval. You've used up all your creativity now? So because you're down in a confined space, you have to make sure you have a way out if someone gets hurt. So there's a rescue basket that was attached to a davit arm crane at the top of where this ladder leads. So the ladder is quite long, and it would support this all the way up to the top. So if anybody got hurt bad enough, they had to use this, get them pulled up, and get them taken care of. So as you can see, the ladder goes up pretty high, all the way up to the top. More stud welding just everywhere going on, just all the time, just constant. I think we spent at least 3 months on this job, just doing all the stud welding. Who is the waifu of the day? Akari Watanabe. Although on Hogwarts Legacy, we've all started a cult for Professor Garlic. I saw that on the Underground. We're watching David play, and you and Jenna were going on about Professor Garlic. And there's nothing wrong with that. Everyone wants to root for their waifu. Yes, salute Professor Garlic. So yeah, there was a crew of 6 of us, I believe, 6 or 7 of us in there. And we would just go and go. We had to build ourselves a little bit of a staging here so that we could get up the sides of the drum. Otherwise, you'd have a hard time, and it would be a very, very, very dangerous. There's a close up of what one of the studs looks like after it's been welded. Probably could have been done a little more over top of that, a little more hard surface on top. But yeah, that's what the finished product looks like. We have a keen interest in herbivorology. You never got into Harry Potter, so Hogwarts Legacy didn't appeal to me. It's okay, grab Fire Emblem Engage and you could have a buffet. There we go. There's where the end of the ladder goes. There is that green thing here. That is the crane that would pull you up on that on the spine board and basket all the way up to get you to safety. There's a better shot of it. Somebody decided to turn the flash on. You want to ride the crane basket? It's fun. A little better shot. I think we got a more improvement on our staging. Put some, I think somebody told us we had to have some guardrails on it. So we did that. And we could move this staging up and down the length of the drum just to keep ourselves moving right along. Check it out here. Oh, looks like somebody forgot to put a stud in there. Well, that's a fail. That's what they look like before they get welded on. Yeah, just guys hard at work. You're not much of an HB fan, mediocre fantasy in your opinion, have a hard time supporting J.K. Rowling for her one good take out of 100 awful ones. Would very much like her to lead lesson in fertilizing. You hate series with whiny protagonists? I hate being the chosen one, Harry. Canadian OSHA? Yeah? 5th book, Harry was insufferable and even thought that, as I was reading, it was a moody preteen. Reminds you of the Family Guy Death Star? I just want a guardrail. It's deathly. Yeah. Can I just get a safety rail by this? You know, we're on the biggest death machine in the world and I can't even have a safety rail. Kind of looks like Death Star cannon. Canadian OSHA is Asia. Asia. Trying to see what we got here. Somebody's doing some welding. So when the temperature out is colder than the inside of the drum, this is what happens. You get fog. So we had to deal with that. Having to have fog coming in there. And that wasn't any fun. Another picture of that. Picture of where we store our materials. That was what we would use. Those were the propane tanks for our Tiger torch. Apparently the one day we had to use the aerial platform. A lot of these pictures I haven't seen in years. Okay, so this will show you how smart scaffolders are. You have to come and check your scaffolding every 3 weeks, I believe. And so somebody came out and they're like, yep, you guys are good until February 30th. So it's like, oh, okay, when does that happen? Checks out. Guy doing his job, not just going through the motions, he's doing his job. Yeah. 60 foot-pounds. I think that's what we're tightening to. Somebody wrote it there. 60 foot-pounds. So we'd crank them down. You're surprised you could read the books? You put Harry Potter books in the same category as the WOT books. You're a cult if you obsessively read them. WOT. Oh, Wheel of Time? Okay. Never got into that either. Never got into Harry Potter. I think I watched the first movie and that was it. I think I was too old by the time it came out to really get into it. You like books 1 to 4, 5 to 7 were pretty meh. And then you started reading good fantasy. Checks out. Happens on the 30th. Rowling got into the mess of spending the first 5 chapters just explaining what happened in the last books. Like, I know, I read those books. Exactly. February has 30 days in Canada. Yeah, we're that special country that has 30 days. What do we got here? They're kind of dark. I wonder what we're looking at. Oh, okay, that's a gap. This goes to show you how much things get worn. This is a straight edge, and this is the wall. So that's like a 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch gap underneath there. So that is quite worn out badly. A lot of these pictures I didn't take, so I had no control over the size or what we were shooting at. What do we got here? Oh yeah, just a long shot of the guys. Yeah, that's pretty much it. We got these stairs built to help us out, to make it a little easier to get up the side of the drum. They were very handy. And there's the guy. He's preheating again, getting rid of all the moisture. He's got the Tiger torch going. And we needed lots of lights. So we had see all the corded lights along the side, and then even the stand-up lights, halogen ones, just to try to get us some light in there, because it was very dark. What do we got here? Oh, more faraway shots. I think somebody's using a torque wrench. Yeah, somebody's torquing that down to 60 foot-pounds. Or pound-feet, I think is the proper term. This was the jig we had rigged up so we could get everything spaced out nicely between, so you would always have a good lineup of the plates. Yeah, that fella's using the jig up there. What's going on here? Feel bad that it took me until now to realize, wait, February doesn't have 30 days. Oh, whoopa, that's okay. It happens to the rest of us. The best of us. There you go. There's the studs with the ceramic rings around them. Just go by after it's all done and chip away at the rings, and you're good to go. Not the best shot. There's a nice one. Look how hot that Tiger torch is getting. Got that. The end's just roaring bright blue. It's because she's from England. Can't use the word jig in the US anymore because of reasons. Really? Seriously? You can't use jig? Like, it's what you... Yeah, it's something you make to make your life easier when you're doing like the same thing over and over again. Oh well. There's our man watch guy. So he would sit there and we'd all take turns. So, oh, it's fixture now. Oh, it's a fixture. Okay. Yeah. Ridiculous if you ask me. So this fellow would sit out there and we'd take turns. We'd sit out there for 8 to 10 hours, I believe, and just make sure nobody's dying, or if anything's happening, he could convey to everyone to get in or get out or whatever they had to do. Keep us all safe. Confined space, after all, so I'll tell you, some days I was hugging that heater. Man, oh man. Yeah, there we are. We got the rubber underneath the plates. We were cleaning up after ourselves too, I believe. I can't remember why, but we had the vacuum going. We would clean up, get rid of all the excess material. And this guy, this is what happens when you weld a lot and don't give the machine a break. You get your nozzle melting in your electrode. Or your contact tip, I guess I should say. Lots of welding. Lots of heat. And to make sure we didn't get blinded, we'd always have to put up barriers. Just so the guy welding wouldn't blind the others. Because nothing's worse than arc flash. All right, you get arc flash and your eyes are just burning after. You wonder why. It feels like there's hot sand in your eyes. I don't know if any of you have ever experienced arc flash, but it is not fun. You definitely don't want to have to experience that. Here's a long shot of the drum digester. As you can see, it goes from one building, stretches across to the next building. Oh, and there's that gearbox. You should just be able to see it. Right here. That's the gearbox. Huge gearbox. And then the motor on there. You have not had the pleasure. You do not want the pleasure, Jake D. You do not want the pleasure of going through arc flash. It is, it's terrible. Painful. You hear the crackle of the welder start, you know what it is, but you look anyway, yeah. Hey, what's that bright light? Oh, geez, my eyes. Yeah, I get it too. It's like I can't look away. I can't look away. It's bright light. I gotta look at it. So yeah, that. Well, let's see here. I think we just got a little bit of it rolling. So we had just rolled this drum to start the other side. As you can see, the snow is on the bottom. This used to be the top. And it's just stopping there. And right there, actually, there's another shot of the gearbox, Godzillionaire. You can see right there. It's, like I said, it is huge gearbox. Just massive. But yeah, that was that one. And before we would... So you'd have to clean up the steel. You don't want to have rusty steel. And in order to do that, you'd have to use what's called a needle scaler. And what it has is a bunch of little fingers on it. And here he is putting them, he's using that jig there, and he's putting them in, so he's only cleaning the one place where the stud's going to go. And it does an excellent job of getting rid of all the rust and such that would interfere with a good weld. So, that's a BMF gearbox. You got her, buddy. It was huge. Is true. Yes, is true, Jake D. And that, I believe, is that. So that was the drum digester relining project that I was a part of many years ago. I believe it was 2007. So definitely learned a lot on that job, and was quite happy that we were able to do it without having any incidents, accidents, or near misses. It was very good because we were under a big microscope from management. They were really staring us down for this job because they were very reluctant to do it. But we were able to show them that, no, we can do the job and we can do it safely and not have anything happen. So I was quite happy with that. Being a part of that team was very good. It's nice when you can prove management wrong that you can do the job. Management a sack of useless MBAs. Yeah, well, they're looking at you from a high level. And it's like, no, we're doing the job safely and we're doing it right. We're doing it how it's supposed to be done. So it was really cool to have the team come together like that and show them what we can do. But yes, that, for me, I think that's going to be it. It was a pleasure having you all here today. I know it's Valentine's Day, for some people it means something, for others not so much, but it was a pleasure to have you here anyway. People like Angry Canadian and David from the Underground, Whoopa Troopa, Godzillionaire, Alex Moore. Who else was here? Jake D. Always like to see Jake D pop by. Just about kills me with his humor. Who else was here? Anyone else that was helping to be lurking? I really appreciate you coming by. It's you guys that help make Trades Talk Tuesday a success. It makes me very proud to have thought of it and to bring it to you. I always push for people going into the trades or telling other people to go into the trades if you can. Spread the word. Make it so that it looks like it's a viable option for people to go into. Because it is. You good pay and you learn a life skill. Can't be ever taken away from you. It's just good overall. So please slap that like button, everybody. It helps me out. Lets YouTube know that people want to watch my stuff. Tell your friends too. Spread the word. Don't thank David. Hey, he thanks me for coming out, so I'm just returning the favor. There's other channels out there, and they make good content too. So people like Mike from Pacific 4 and 4 and Blaine from Blaine's Escape Corner and Ronan66, DJ Ronnie G. There's Brandon the Anime Guy and the Nerdporial Lifeform. And hopefully Whoopa will get his channel up and going again, because I know a lot of people miss his content and all his chill streams and Pokemon playing. And then there's Punk Waddle, and he's at Floral from Under a Rock, which are very entertaining. I got a Discord. It's called The Shop because that's where the tradesmen hang out. We shoot the breeze at the shop. I'm out there on Twitter. I've got videos on Bitchute, Odysee, and Rumble because, you know, they're not as heavy-handed with the old copyright as YouTube, so I like to put my content on there as well. Whoopstotska will rise. We lurk. And I appreciate that. Anybody that's lurking. So coming up, Saturday. Saturday's game day. Always is. 9 a.m. Mountain Time. I have started Legend of Zelda, the Minish Cap. And I'm having just a hell of a good time playing that game. Oh, it's so fun. So I look forward to playing more of that and having you guys along for the ride. Then on Sunday, as always, for me, Sunday is Anime Chat. And I will keep up with the Valentine's theme, romance, and I will not let you guys know what one it is until the day of. All to say that it's the girl chasing after her Prince Charming. So make sure you tune in for that. I think you're in for a pleasant surprise as to which one this is going to be. And of course, next week, next Tuesday, the 21st, will be Trades Talk Tuesday, as we talk about the skilled trades, what you can do to get into them, what you need, what to expect, and some stories from the time I've been in the trades. I have over 25 years of experience of being in the trades, so I have seen quite a bit. I haven't seen it all, but I've seen quite a bit. And I like to share that with you guys. More pictures of projects I've been on. And yeah. So that's it for tonight, everyone. I appreciate you coming out. I had a fun time. I hope you did too. It's always a pleasure to see you all. And I will see you out there on the streams. As usual, this is Pop, and I am signing off.